Hey everybody, how's it going? Hang on, let me make sure we're on. How's everybody doing today? It's time for Cousin Eddy's trailer. There we go. Make sure I'm here for you guys. Okay, it hasn't come on yet. Wow, what's going on with this? I'm showing live, but it's not broadcasting. There we go. Hey everybody, welcome. Cousin Eddy's trailer. Give me a second. Make sure I'm here for you guys. Give me a second so I can get on the TikTok, and we'll get on with today. It hasn't come on yet. Wow, what's going on with this? I'm showing live, but it's not broadcasting. Give me a second here, and at least it's at least there's no issue getting started today. Not like the other day. Give me a second. Okay. Let me pop over, get TikTok started, and we'll get going. Welcome, everyone. I know it's been a while. I may be here tomorrow doing this. Tomorrow night, definitely, we're going to be doing this for our 4 hours. But I don't know about the book read. I got my birthday's Monday, and my friend wants to take me out. So I don't know if I'm going to be out tomorrow. So, okay. Let me put this in. Give me a second. There we go. My live goal. Glad everybody's here. I hope you're here. Nobody out there today, huh? Saturday, that's why. Might as well yell, hello. Let's do 10 Sundays. There we go. Okay, let me get started here. I'm almost on time for once, you guys. Come on in. Okay, let me get this thing started, and then we'll start rolling. We're gonna do some door work today. All right, let me get started here. Make sure my volume's up over here. You guys can hear me. I know you can hear me because I'm picking it up on here. So that's cool. There we go, TikTok. 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 Okay. Let me get TikTok started. And we're going live. Okay, here we go. It looks a lot better today. Okay, just looking at my face. I'm looking because I have allergy eyes. Looks a little better today. Okay. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to part 4 of the trailer build for Cousin Eddy. So we're going to finish off lining that first window. I'm going to be here for as long as I can be here. Doing this today. So we're going to finish lining the windows. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. All right, so we're going to be here working on this, and no readings till 6:45 p.m. Pacific tonight, okay? Just to let you know, no readings. So welcome, everyone. Let me pull these things out, and I'll show you where we're at with them. Oh, I forgot the paint brushes. You know what? I'll be right back, okay? Yeah, there's the paint brushes. Okay. I was all organized and left the stupid paintbrushes. Okay, so hello everybody. Once again, we'll try this again. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Saturday. So we may use them, we don't know. Good to see you all. Hi, TikTok. How's it going? Okay, I do have a goal of collecting 10 ice cream sundaes. If you guys can help me out with that, that would be great to collect them. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I got to bring this forward for a second. I got to look at something, okay? And then I'll get to this. I promise. It doesn't look as bad today. It's more cleared up. I have allergy eyes, like on my left eye. You can see it red in there. Not as red as it was last night, though, so it's better. But I have allergy eyes really bad. Just want to make sure it's okay. It's a context. Hi, Joanne. Welcome. I'll be doing free readings tonight at 6:45 p.m. Pacific. But right now we're doing Cousin Eddy's trailer. It's not exactly Cousin Eddy's trailer. I wanted to have a cookie project because we did build the house from Christmas Vacation, right? So I saw this thing at Safeway and thought, wow, it would make a funny thing if we could turn it into, I'll show you what it looks like. It's supposed to look like, as opposed to what we're doing to it. And I thought, hey, it's a trailer. How perfect. We can make it look like Cousin Eddy's trailer. So that's what we're doing. So let me show you what's done so far. I'll have to get the little tray up here so I can work. But we're adding the black on the doors. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because, again, it's Cousin Eddy's trailer, which is a hot mess, okay? So there's the other one we did. There's even rust. I put rust on the hubcaps. See it? We've got rust on the hubcaps. Okay? For you guys over here. And I am broadcasting on 3 different networks. There's 3 different apps today, so I can't say them because TikTok would be very unhappy with me. So we're going to do this window over here, okay? So then, see, same thing over here. Maybe this window over here, okay? So then we have a choice. We can either make sure we touch everything up, get everything lined up properly, you know, as far as the blue and the red and the green go, or the blue and the white go. Or we can start putting rust along the bottom edges of this thing. Okay, so we can start rusting out the bottom edges. So, sorry, I keep staring at myself. Now, this happened the first day I had them on for 12 hours. The next day was fine. Yesterday was like this. Today's like this. I think it's just allergy, depending on what my allergies are doing. Anyway, so let me put my table up here, my little work table, so you guys can see. Double tap that screen. We're trying to get at least 2,000 likes today for this project, okay? They even gave us a little campfire and a tree to put on top of the thing. But we're going to have to lay, I didn't realize it was because I found a photo of Cousin Eddy's trailer. We're going to have to, like, put a strip of white across the top up there. So, hi, Pearl. How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. So there's going to be a strip eventually of, hang on, white frosting. Maybe we'll do that during that day. That's going to be along the top here, that top edge. Okay, here. Now you can see. Along the top edge right here, this is going to be a strip of white frosting. In fact, let me go get some Scotch tape. It's just, I just remembered something. I will be right back. Don't anybody go anywhere. If we're going to do any stripping like that, we'll get some Scotch tape. That way it'll be straight and I'll look really tacky. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, everybody. Sorry about that. So tomorrow, I will be back here at 4 or 5 p.m. to work on this for the evening work, right? And Normally, I'm going to do the book read at noon since we're on this schedule. The thing is that my birthday is Monday, and my friend kind of asked me if I wanted to go out tomorrow and get some Chinese food, and she's going to treat me. So I don't know if we're going to get to the book read. Anyway, I brought this in to help us make sturdy lines, okay? I'm not going to do it on the windows because it's too much of a hassle. But when we get up to the top there, I got to make that line and firm it up there. And then when I get up here, make this line here, make it straight. Then we're going to want to get some tape on here and straighten this line out, make sure this is all nice and straight. And then we can start doing more rust on it, okay? So let me get my black. I'm going to have facts. I had issues with the black paint and tape or the black paint because it kept getting, it doesn't have a lid. Because it didn't, it was hot here the other day. And so as fast as I would squeeze the black in here, it would dry. So it would get really difficult to do the outline on these doors and stuff. I just see you, Pearl. Hi, Tina. Don't forget 6:45 p.m. Pacific. We'll be back up here, back up on TikTok doing free readings tonight. I guess you guys got Moon too, huh? While we were at it. Okay, so let me find the thing for the black paint, and then we'll get on with it. Should be in there with the black squeegee thing, because we got to start putting the roof. Once we put the roof on this thing and start putting the back and the front, of it. Because what I would like to do is paint the windshield in. It doesn't have anything for a windshield on here. But what we can do is, let me look at the back here. Because you're gonna have inside two walls when you put it up. See how you're gonna have a back and front wall? So I think the idea is for this to look at that. See how you have a back and front wall? That's gonna go up. So I think the primary idea with this is to just look at it from the sides, like a cookie house. But what we're going to do, because I'm an artist, is we're going to go ahead. We're going to put a windshield in there. I kind of have a good idea of how the windshield would fit because we had an old 73 Dodge Fireball RV, a mini RV. So I kind of have an idea of what the front window should look like. So that's what we'll do. Is at this end we'll add the front window. There's no door, but I mean, or we could add that front window, which would be kind of cool, on it. The eye doesn't look too bad. How's the eye look today, you guys? Does it look better? Does the eye look better than it did last night? Amanda, you were on here. Okay, let me find the black, and then we'll get on with this, okay? And we'll get this part done, and then we'll start looking at running that line on the top up there. I think the eye looks a little better. It doesn't hurt or nothing. It's just dry. And I'm sure the eye doctor saw it because I had it when I came home Wednesday. It was like this. So I'm sure the eye doctor saw it, so it didn't phase her in the least. So whatever it is, it's got to be like allergy. Or the eye doctor would have gone, oh, no, don't do it. You can't wear these, which would have sucked. So we're using toothpicks to do these thin lines. Even though I do feel the contact in there, and I shouldn't. I should have no feeling, of knowing that contact's there. And that's the only thing that's kind of bothering me with it is I do feel it in there. But I swear it flipped the other day, too, to be inside out. But, I mean, I'm going to be ordering contacts this week anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so here we go. At least I'm not starting, I didn't set everything up at like 2:55 like yesterday. Yesterday was really, really bad, for starting stuff late. Or the other day, not yesterday, but Thursday. Okay, so here we go. Let's hope this doesn't dry right away like it did the other night. Because as fast as I squeezed this stuff out, it was drying. And that was taking away. As it is, I'm probably going to have to go to Safeway or wherever and get some more black frosting because we're going to want to put the the rust on here, and I'm going to have to use black, and then use some brown and make some brown and red for it. So, yeah. So let me get my reading glasses on so I can see what the hell I'm doing as I'm doing this. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, people coming in over here now. Oh, she's live. Let's go. Let's get over there. Now the key is to find out where I just poured it. There you are. I think that's you. Yeah, so right there. So we'll get this done. But it's not exactly Cousin Eddy's trailer. And I mean, that's, wow, already starting to not cooperate. What I don't like is I think it's this cup. There's something with this cup. You know what? We're going to get a piece of cardboard. We're doing a piece of cardboard because this cup is having issues, I'm sure. I think this cup is having major issues. Let me get a piece of cardboard. Like you. Okay. Like you. Let's get a piece of cardboard. I don't know if it's this stuff or it's just the cup with all the old paint in there. So let's get some more. It's not paint, it's frosting. There we go, right there. There we got some frosting. Now that's some frosting, baby. Oh, more power. Oh, I just lost somebody. I had somebody over there. After screaming more power, they disappeared. Okay. Now we got some. And for those of you just coming in, if you would like a free reading tonight, come on over. We have a really good time on TikTok with tarot card readings. And like I said, this is going off right now. It does not have to be perfect because it's not going to be perfect. I gotta watch the other one to see how high it went. Because obviously I'm not going high enough. Yeah, it's gotta come up to the blue. And the lighting in here, my overhead light is gone. I have to get somebody to come in here, like my neighbor, to help. Hi, Vixo. My neighbor has to come over and help because I'm not getting up on a ladder up there. How far off is it? Oh, I see. Well, why? Whoa, I'm way off. Whoa, sacre-vous. Is that the line? This doesn't look like it really had a line. So we're going to make our own line and come up with it because it doesn't look like it had a line. Doesn't look like the line was imprinted very good. Your daily Vixo. How's the weather in the Bay Area, Vixo? Vixo lives up the road from me, like about an hour away. So for you guys who live in the Midwest, or like Cleveland, places like that, the East, that have tornadoes, I want to ask you something. Do you have like what what you could term like tornado weather? Is there a certain type of weather that you guys have like during tornado season? The reason why I ask is that for us here for earthquakes, and I think Vixo can verify this, we have what we call earthquake weather. A lot of our earthquakes, it's like cold. A lot of our earthquakes come during October. Oh, that's perfect. That works. When we have like Indian summer, that's when a lot of our earthquakes happen on the West Coast. And I'm just curious because I know I've been to Ohio a couple times in the summer for summer storms and all that. But is there a certain weather? Is there certain weather that you guys? I'll have to ask the chat tonight too. If there's a certain weather that you guys notice, certain weather patterns that you guys notice for tornadoes. Because like I said, here for earthquakes, it stays warm. I mean, it's warm, but we're talking like, yeah, fall cold, and it'll be like 85. So sometimes some days will be warmer than others. You know, things like that. It's always in the fall. Earthquake weather. So I'm just wondering if there's like a certain type of tornado weather. I would think so. I just know that my dad, the air would get still, is what my dad said, because he grew up in Cleveland. But I know here we've had a couple of times when they thought there were going to be tornadoes, and I've been out in it, and it gets to be a weird color. It gets to be like a weird. The air gets. Thank you for the heart me. The air gets to be a weird tan kind of color with the sun coming through, and it's really weird. It's almost foggy, but everything has a weird color to it. That's all I know from being here with them. But I'll tell you, for the people like in Ohio and places like that, your thunderstorms, holy crap, especially in the summer. Yikes. But we do have earthquake weather here. And you can tell around, when it starts to get warm like that in the fall, and you're watching TV or whatever, and you're sitting out front, you realize the first thing you think of is earthquake weather. Because when you think about the World Series, right? The World Series is always in October. And when the Oakland A's were playing the San Francisco Giants, of course, it was October. When that big earthquake hit for us. And that was even felt where I live. And my house doesn't get hit as much as like the neighbor's house. I think we're on like a bowl of jello. My city is on like a bowl of jello. So when these earthquakes hit, it just kind of shimmies around a little bit. It doesn't, it doesn't do damage here. But I mean, some of these are strong enough. Like I remember at that time I owned a business. I was working out of a warehouse at my business. And I looked up, how you have those hanging lights in warehouses? And the hanging lights were moving, like back and forth. I've been outside when my swimming pool, my old swimming pool, there were waves on the swimming pool, when we've had earthquakes hit. Now, my neighbors have said that, because she used to have, the neighbors that lived there before, remember, this is like 60s stuff. She used to have beads hanging in between her kitchen and her doorway, her front doorway. And she used to say the beads would move, and she could tell. Sometimes here, what happens here too, I know that when we have tremblers, is that something will be up on a counter or something will fall off. I'm in Northern California, state capital. So I'm further inland. Now, Vicksville's on the coast. My sister lives on the coast up in Northern Cal. So we've never experienced a full-on earthquake, but my dad has talked about, because he used to carry mail before he went to management, and he said, "You're in Placerville?" "Hey, Patricia. I used to work for the Placerville newspaper. I retired from the Daily Democrat. Did a lot of good ghost hunts." But my dad would tell me stories about how when he was on his mail route, when these earthquakes would hit and these trembles would hit, how the phone poles on the roads would go like this, when he was out. And there were times that the neighbors felt tremblers and we didn't feel anything. But there's times I'm sitting on the couch at night or whatever, and I feel the couch start shaking. My first thought is, well, it's paranormal. And, it turns out to be a trembler, a big one. But yeah, I was just curious about, like, you guys that are up there in like Oklahoma and Hurricane Alley up there, how the weather is when these things hit. Because obviously in Florida and stuff with the hurricanes, it gets really windy. Now I can tell you a tornado story. I was a young kid at the time, though. My dad loved to take us on cross-country trips to Cleveland and back, and he'd always use a different route every time. And so I believe we were coming home. I think we were coming home, and we went through Kansas, and there was an earthquake alert. I was real young. My two sisters were there. I think my brother might have been there too. My two sisters and my brother, I think. Or maybe my brother had already moved out. I had both my sisters. And hey, Pamela. Oh, we can ask Pamela about that. Anyway, I remember my dad being really nervous because they, the manager at the hotel, this old couple owned this hotel, and they were talking about how the nearest shelter for the tornado was like 2 blocks away. And so when the alarm went off, because they had like a tornado siren that would go off, when the tornado siren went off, my dad was to grab me, grab my mom, grab what we could, and take off running for the shelter. And my dad, after growing up in Cleveland, was not very happy about it. But yeah, but the thing never went off. But he was all ready to go. I mean, he stayed dressed the whole night, and we were waiting for that warning siren to go off. So Pamela, here's my question. Pamela lives in Wisconsin. Do you have tornadoes in Wisconsin, Pamela? Or have there been tornadoes in Wisconsin? And if there are, what is the weather like? Is there a special kind of weather, like a tornado season? A certain type of thing that the weather does during that time? Because like I told everybody a little while ago, with us, it's it's Indian summer for us. Like October is when we start getting earthquakes. Good to see a fellow friend from Placerville. I miss working for that paper. I love that paper. That was the best paper I ever worked for. Except, okay, I'm going to say it except when I became editor for American Online, for Patch. Because I got to do it from home. But Placerville was the best paper I ever worked for. Nicest people to work for. Okay, here we go. It will get really humid. And still, okay, yeah. That's what my dad said. Yeah, it would get still. Okay. Yeah. Because we've had those mornings here and it's gotten really humid and still like that. And then it looked like the sky got, like there was dust in the sky. The sun was showing through dust. That's what was creepy about it. Hi, Lady Charisse. Hey, guys, give me a follow. You can come in tonight to see us on when we're doing readings. I don't do readings like other psychics. I have a good time, and I'm going to sing. I'm going to perform for you. It's never boring. It's kind of like this where I tell stories, and then I'm doing psychic reading, and then I'm doing tarot card readings. So come on in and join us. We have a great time. But that's my memory is Kansas. And then, I, being a little kid that I am, my mother could laugh like the Wicked Witch of the West. That scene in the crystal ball when Dorothy's looking at the crystal ball and she turns into the witch and she starts laughing at her. My mother could do that stuff. So my cousins and I were petrified of my mom. So it didn't help it because, of course, my older siblings, you're going to Oz, so I was all freaked out. But it never happened. So, my dad didn't tolerate, the older siblings to tease me at all. He didn't believe in that stuff. Spring through summer to fall. Okay. See, for us, for earthquake weather, it's fall. Like I told you guys, that day that earthquake hit during the World Series, I happened to be working that day. You could be watching it because I'm a big A's fan. But I wasn't. I had my own business, so I was working that day. And I'm sitting in the warehouse, and all of a sudden I see the lights in the warehouse go, boom, boom, boom. Those big old warehouse lights that go across the whole thing, 1,000 square feet, right? And that's what I remember about that. I think it's Loma Prieta. Is that the one? Now my cousin who lives in Los Angeles, she grew up around that. She used to tell me stories when I was a little kid about she's lying in bed and the whole bed would start bouncing across the floor. That was my cousin used to tell me those stories. But I can tell when, like I told you guys earlier, I can tell when there's a trembler because, like, I'll set a broom up. You know how you lean a broom like in a corner. You lean your broom up there so you go get there, and all of a sudden the broom will fall over by itself. First thing I think is, oh, it's paranormal. Then I'll look at the quake alerts on my phone, and all of a sudden that'll pop up and say, oh, there was a such and such a quake along some fault line that we felt. But that's about all the action we get at this house. We've never really shook. Now, the other night, when I was on the air doing the tarot card show, I thought there were like two big cars. It sounded like a freight train came through the house twice. Because this room was pretty soundproof. So was that room back there? I made all these rooms soundproof to do the show. And honest to God, I heard like rumble. It felt like thunder. You know that thunder that rumbles through your house? That's what it sounded like. Only it sounded like a car, like a big truck or something. You could feel the shaking. And I thought, well, what the heck? And I thought, well, maybe it was. And then when it happened the second time, I thought, that's really weird. And this is like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And then I got on that next door. I can't say where I got on a certain place to go look things up that happened locally. And people were asking about it, that there was 2 explosions that happened, real big explosions. And nobody knew what they were. So that must have been what I encountered here. But that was like, I think it was Thursday night that happened. Because this house, I mean, even in this high wind, you don't feel the wind. You don't hear the wind. You don't feel the wind. This house is really, really sturdy. I mean, it's old now, and I gotta do the roof and stuff on it, or the front door will blow open sometimes in the wind. But for the most part, you don't hear that stuff in this house. This house is very sturdy. And so to feel something like that, you're either thinking about an earthquake or it's a big truck or something coming down the street. But I've never lived in tornado area, so that's why I was curious. Like I said, my dad grew up in Cleveland, so he had definite opinion about Cleveland and tornadoes and all that. Yet he came out here to, well, we call it, because it's so hot. Sometimes when the earthquakes hit, we call it shake and bake out here. Californians have their own attitude out here about stuff like that. I know we were doing an investigation up by Lake Tahoe, but it was the north part of the lake, not the south lake where the casinos are. And we were doing an investigation up there, and we could see the lake from the hotel. It was a family-owned hotel. And at that time, and this is something to creep you out, but, Lake Tahoe is a dormant volcano. Okay? It's a dormant volcano. And you always hear stories about, earthquakes and stuff that reawaken these volcanoes and stuff. And we're up there investigating. And I remember the stories my mom told me about, like, how these volcanoes would wake up. And you could literally see when the tremblers were hitting. And I thought it was fascinating, but at the same time, it was terrifying because I thought, man, if that thing was to go, we're standing right here across from the lake. It's game over. Game over. The other place I thought was terrifying in my lifetime, even though I love going there, was Mount Lassen here in NorCal. Mount Lassen had been in 1910 or 1901. I don't know. So it was around the San Francisco earthquake time. And they had a major earthquake up there. And then, I'm sorry, a major eruption, was involved with earthquakes. And so you could go up there towards the peak up there, the summit, and you could go in there. They have the rangers put a whole outpost up there with a big Richter scale and stuff up there. And there was a photographer on hand that had taken photos of the eruption. And I mean, you're right on top of the thing, right? Hey, blessed. And so it is the creepiest feeling. You go walking into this thing, and you can go check out the seismograph, when you come in, which is creepy in itself, because you're watching to see if there's any movement under the ground. Here you're standing on top of this thing. Should it go off? Thank you very much, Mona. Should it go off? There's like no place to go because you're on. It's like a 2-lane road going up there. So I mean, there's all kinds of campers up, people camping. I mean, so if there was a bad thing at that volcano, you couldn't get down because it would be so trafficy. And so as you're standing up there looking at this seismograph, it really hits home that this is an ugly situation. Should there be a quake? Should the thing erupt? And then you go inside where the guy took his photo, where the photos are. That I don't know if it was a ranger or somebody took the photos, but you go inside of the photos, and it's just creepy because they have like wall of the ceiling photos, wall of the wall of the ceiling photos in there of the eruption. Creep me out. I only went there once. My mom always wanted to go back and look, and I was always like, "No, I'm good. I don't need to go look. I'm good." But yeah, so. Oh, wow. How far off the line can I be here? Man, that was way off. Blind bat that I am. Let's see if I can fix this. Bad boy. Since it's kind of all like gelling together anyway, I might be able to move it over. And I can. Yay. Okay, let's move this bad boy over. Again, I can always repaint over it and fix it. This can be fixed. Yeah, that was a bad idea. That was a bad mistake. But my mother was always so into. I fixed it. My mother was always so into going up there and looking at where the thing blew up and stuff. Oh yeah, you saw the same. Yeah, my dad. That's why I wanted to ask you, Great Lakes people, and because you guys also get with the Great Lakes too. I mean, because they're so big, you guys also get like ocean weather as well. People don't realize like how big the Great Lakes are, and you guys get like the weather that we get at the ocean. You got to figure, people, depending on which Great Lake you're on, people can go to Canada. You can board a boat from Chicago and go across the Great Lake to Canada, But yeah, so that was my experience up in Tahoe, and it scared the hell out of me because that's another thing where I'm thinking, I think I'd gone to Lassen at that point too, and I got to thinking, I thought, man, if this thing comes back to life, we're stuck here, man. There's no place to go with Tahoe. So that was an experience. But Lassen, I love it. It's beautiful. I've gone camping there since then, and there's still areas, even after it happening in the early 1900s, there's still areas where nothing grows back. It's all ash yet. Everything got burnt, destroyed. And there's still areas where the trees don't grow. It's sad. But if I had a trailer now to go camping because I'm old, actually, hopefully, I got a deal I'm putting together with a company because I have an SUV, an older SUV. But I've got a company that's willing to sponsor SUV tent for me. Now, I'm not going to lay in a tent. I have a bad back, so there's no way in heck I'm laying in some tent. Okay. However, the seats in my car are extremely comfortable, so I would probably use the SUV tent for storage, equipment storage and stuff. But and put a table in there to have cocoa or whatever you do, tell ghost stories and all that crap. So I'm willing to do that. So I'm hoping that the deal that we can get the sponsorship to do that. And I'd like to hook it into ghost hunting. Like it would be kind of fun to go up to Donner Summit at their campground. Do you guys for you guys that are back east and not living up in this area, not living on the West Coast? You guys know about the Donner Party, right? You guys know about the Donner Party? Yeah, Lake Superior, yeah. You guys, You guys know the history of the Donner Party, right? Well, they put a campsite on the side of where all that went down. And, of course, it's active. Yeah, and it's active. It's haunted. Of course it is. Look at what those people had to go through. And there's one EVP that's floating around the web. I don't even know if you can find it anymore. I used to find it all the time. There's a little voice that says, I'm hungry. On this EVP. But I know there have been psychics that have gone in there and seen apparitions, of the poor people that were starving in the snow. But if I was to get that SUV tent, that would be a place I would go. That's on the bucket list. Or I'm trying to work a deal for a smaller electric. At one time I had a 19-foot RV. That old one that I had, kind of like this thing that I'm paying. Work a deal for one of those at some point. Get a sponsor. But in the meanwhile, I'm looking at the SUV tent to do the short trips to go up. So we'll see if that deal comes through. With my broken down vehicle. With my poor old car. But again, I'm not gonna sit there and camp, in a tent, because it's not gonna. I can't even do a cot. It's not gonna happen for me. My back won't tolerate it. Okay, so these are totally uneven. So goes the day, huh? It doesn't look too bad though for the view. No, that's not bad at all. Close enough for government work. All right, let me dab in some. There's some end spots that need it. And then that window's done. Okay, let that dry. So maybe, if that works out, we can get up there and do some camping up at Donner Lake in that campground and maybe encounter a few things. That's the kind of ghost you feel bad for. It wasn't their fault and they got stuck up there, and you got to feel bad for them up there. But yeah, they put a campsite right there. There's a monument and then the campsite. The infinite wisdom of people. But yeah, if you ever get a chance to go to Mount Lassen and go up there to that summit observatory, it's eye-opening. Because you stand there thinking, that happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago, or whatever, and your thought is, I'm standing here on a big firecracker. And this could happen at any time. That's what I thought when I was up there. This thing could go off again at any time. And they're always having little quakes up there, always. Even Mount St. Helens. I remember Mount St. Helens because I had cousins in Oregon that my dad would want to go visit. And I remember the ash that would get out of the car, everything got covered in ash. From Mount St. Helens, too. And those people stayed there thinking they were going to survive, and, they ended up unalive because of all the ash. All right, so that window's done pretty much. So we got that window done. See, there we go. Like I said, it's Cousin Eddy. It doesn't have to be perfect. So let's see if we can't do that. Well, I don't think we can do it because the window has to dry first. Okay, so you know what? We'll start doing some. I just wish this stuff wasn't getting so gummy. Now, you see, the other stuff we had was too loose and it would dry and flake off. Now we're getting to the point where this stuff's too gummy. All right, so we did that. So that part's done. So what we're going to want to do is figure out, I want to put a wreath on the door. We can put a wreath down below where the handle is, where the door handles are on it. But they didn't give me like wreath material. I have to do it out of those little red flower, green and red flowers and all that. So we got that. So what I want to do is I want to level this thing off, make sure that, well, I can't do it because I already did that. So, I have to do my best to level the blue off and make sure the blue hits just right with this thing. So I have an imaginary line that I put across both of these. See, like on here, this one's not too bad. This one's pretty level. See how that one's pretty level? Like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. This one, not so much. I have to make adjustments on this one. But that was pretty level. So what would you guys like to do? Should we work on the front windshield? We'll grab those other two pieces and work on the front windshield. I'm just trying to, I think because it's built like a cookie house, but we can turn around and put a front windshield on it. Should we create our own front windshield? What do you guys think? I don't have a problem with it. It's going to be a matter of making a blue front windshield on there and then, okay, putting a blue front windshield on there and then lining it with the black, to have it stand out. So let's figure out which one's going to be the front of the smaller two pieces. Because they all have been painted white now. So what we're going to want to do, okay, because there's where the bumper is on that sucker. So find out which goes to the front, which goes to the back. I would think the taller one goes to the front because you're going to want to put okay, let me see something. Let's see if we can figure this out. I would think the taller one would be in the front and then the back's going to be the smaller one. Let me pull these out. Let's see what we got. We've got three, so okay. So that super big one obviously is going to be the roof on this thing. So what we want to figure out is which one goes. I think the smaller one goes to the front. This is going to be the roof, I'm sure. On the top of it. I think the roof is going to sit like that on there. Because I think the way they set it up was that there's an overhang. You got an overhang on the back, overhang on the front, which would be logical if it was a real SUV and a real RV. I just wish they would show us more sides to it. Instead of just that. Yeah, see, it looks like there's like a half-inch overhang on each end. And then that sits on top of them both. So let me look at this really quick at this big one. We're going to leave it like this right here. And I'm going to look at this. Where'd that big piece go? Right there. So let's say there's a half-inch overhang on these. So it should sit right about there. That's what I'm thinking is right about there. All right, so let's give it a windshield. Let's work on the windshield now. I have to make some blue. Let me make some blue paint, and we'll do some work on the windshield. Give it a windshield. Hey, Mona, how goes it? Don't forget tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be here again, working on this. Oh, the eye doesn't look too bad. I think it's allergies. I'm going to pull you guys forward a little bit over here. I want to look at my eye real quick. I've been having this problem with contacts. I just think it's dry eyes. It never gets any higher. It's always like right there. Where's my left eye? It always gets right there. See, I think it's dry. In fact, it looks better than it did yesterday. Or I have to get used to wearing them again. I haven't worn them for 8 months, almost a year. So if everything goes well with DMV in a couple weeks, we'll be out doing stuff again. We're going to be doing some field trips. In fact, tomorrow, if my friend is taking me out to lunch or whatever, or we're going to lunch tomorrow, I will take you guys with me, okay? We'll go out to lunch together. We'll do a field trip. Okay, so let me see what we got here. So this guy, now the question is, Is it going to go this far? How wide is this? Because it's all about this big piece and how wide this piece is. So that'll tell me how wide this has to be, whether I'm going up or down with it. So I'm thinking that this is going to go like that. And then this one was the one I was looking at for width. Okay, got it. All right, so let me make some blue paint and we'll start making the windshield, okay? We'll start with the windshield. So the windshield now is going to sit in like about a ½ an inch in. Like about here. Yeah, because they're going to be up above, it's all set to be above that bumper. So the windshield is going to go like here. I'll show you. I can show you guys without dropping it. So the windshield, well, what we're going to use is a windshield. It's going to sit like back here, right? Because the bumper's right there. So we're going to put that windshield right there. Right? Okay. There's no doors going in. You know, some of the older RVs only had one door. There weren't doors in the front. Now, the actual Cousin Eddy RV, of course, is a Winnie. So it does have a door in the front. But with this one, we're going to just have this door here. And that'll be the main entrance for it. Okay. So, okay. So let me make sure I'm doing this right and the height's correct, because we don't want to blow the height out. This almost looks like a perfect square. But, yeah. Yeah, see? See, if you do it like that and put it up that way, it's too short on the side. See how the end sticks over? And then we got to figure out the height here. Now, let me look at that. Is it going to sit all the way down or is it going to go up? That's what's going to determine how that sits. I wish they would. Wow, it looks like it's way back there. That's further in than what it is. That's weird. Oh, okay. So the one that sits in the back is the one that's going to be further in on it, which doesn't make sense. Well, we'll fix it. Okay. So the front goes in about a ½ inch. Okay. So, okay. So it's looking like, let me look at this again. Does it go all the way to the bottom? Oh, I got a cramp, guys. Yeah, it looks like it's going to the bottom. So, ooh, I need potassium. I've been eating like these huge bananas. I don't think you're going to want to go to the bottom because you got to, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Unless that one's got the taller one. This must have the taller one. I'm not doing this right. We need the taller one. This guy here. That's the one that's got to go in front. Because that one's got to reach the bottom. Yeah, this one right here is the one we go in front with. Because we're doing that on the bottom. Because it's almost got to come down the bottom because you're going to want to prop this thing up like an RV. So it's almost the big one. And the small one is the one that goes for the back. Good thing I checked before I started making windshields and everything. Because that's the front. And the other one's lower, so that's going to sit on the back. That's going to be the way it works. So here's the back. So this one, and it does go in a little further. See where it sits in? But we can always put it out, whatever. Because you want that other thing to match up with it. So it's going to go sit a little further back. All right, we got it. I figured it out. All right. I'm a very, very little brain. All right, so let's see if we can't start designing a windshield area. And again, I got to make sure I get the right width for the top. So it's going to sit up like this. Okay. So we'll put a windshield right about here. And yeah, okay. Let's get some. I don't know if I should do it in black first or do it in blue. Well, if I do it in black, use tape on this. You know what? Now we're going to use the Scotch tape. This is what we're going to do. We're going to use Scotch tape now. Now Scotch tape time. So we're going in right about here with it. So the windshield is going to sit about there because they're going to be sitting down. So it'll sit a little lower. and everything else. So, okay. So let's get the Scotch tape. Never done this with Scotch tape before, always painter's tape. But today, we dare to be different, don't we? We want to have a nice straight line going across here for the windshield. Right about there. If it doesn't tape on it, I'll have to get some painter's tape. Because it'll defeat our whole purpose. Nope, it's not going to tape on here. Son of a gun. Really? Nope. Story of my life. All right, well, okay, we're just going to have to go for it. You guys want to just go for it? I think I'm steady enough to do it. Or get a piece of cardboard to just do it across. Let me get some cardboard. Something so I can get a straight line across there. Like this. Let's take this edge. Let's have this edge, and then we can tape it down. Problem solved. Now, Mr. Scissors, get a length on here. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to tape it down to this. I just want to pull a length on it. Of course, it's uneven, but that's okay. Because we're going to need two of them to do this. Come on, there you go. Oh, by the way, never use your scissors. Never use your scissors to cut candy canes. Destroys the living hell out of the scissors. Since we're not doing the top of this, but we're doing the length here, perfect. Doesn't have to be very wide because you're just using it to make your line straight. Just like that. That's straight. Let's use that bottom line. Because there's not going to be any divider on this because it's a windshield. It's not like we're putting dividers in the windows. Okay. Let me grab this and we're going to go ahead and I'm trying to make the line straight for the blue and then we're going to do something with the black on it. But for now, here we go. Make sure it's as straight as I can do it. Doesn't mean it's straight, it just means somewhat straight. See, slap that right there so I have a line to work on. Hey, Big Thirsty, what's up? Tommy King, hello. Okay, so it should be flattened down more, but it's not going to happen because the tape's not going to tape to that. So I'm going to try to flatten as much as I can. It's just a guide right now to put the line in to make the windshield. And I wonder if I'm too low with it. I can't move it. Hello. I think we might be just about right with it. I just want to make sure we're not too low. Because see, now I can pull it and adjust it for the height. Like right there would be good. I'm just trying to remember what it was like with the RV we had. How low the front went. That might be too high now. I think maybe about there. Okay. So let me make some blue so we can make the window itself. Then we'll worry about outlining the window after the fact. Okay. All right. Let me make some blue. Where'd the blue go? Blue, 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 blue. I have lots of blue. I don't worry about the colors. There's the green. There's that. So dark in here. Even when I do my show, I have to have that. All right. I've been keeping these. It's been pretty good organizing on this. Believe it or not, I am organized. I know it's hard to believe, but I am organized. That was the blue. Now, where's the blue color? That was where the blue was. That was blue. Gotta find the blue food dye. This was blue. These tops from my hydrating drink have been great, man. To use for this project. I was putting the colors in with them, except this one. Why, I don't know. So, obviously, okay, so here's what we're going to do. So I got to find the blues in here, so. It's like Legos. Stuff gets everywhere, man. Let me make sure I'm doing it right, because if I do this the wrong way, I'm going to be in deep trouble. You know what? Did I lay it in wrong? Yeah, I did. I got to redo it. Son of a gun. After all that work, make sure I laid it in right. Yeah, I had it wrong. Yep, okay. Good thing I checked. But you know what? This is nice and removable, which makes it nice. So I was able to move that just like that. So that worked. Okay. There is some blue in here, I think. Some regular dye. There we go. See if I can do some color matching. And while we have the blue out, we might as well fill in the blue to make sure it's stable, you know, and level. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to push this against you guys a little bit over here. I can see what I'm doing. Oh, thank you for sharing, Lana. That was wonderful of you. Thank you. Okay, we're trying to go for a lighter blue color. I don't think this is the dye I use, but we'll try it with this dye. It looks really dark with this dye. I don't know where the blue is. Is there a bag down there I missed? Oh, okay. Where is the blue? I'll probably find the blue now that I took all this mark. Because that's how Murphy's Law works, right? Ah, but there it is. Of course I found it. Too late. I'll see if I can, work it this way. And I haven't been doing my ceremonial taste of frosting either when I'm working on this stuff. Look at that. All that makes me want to do is taste that sucker, doesn't it? Look at that. Yum, yum, and yum. Hopefully it's not too, well, maybe if it's a different blue, it'd be better for the front. Don't know. Of course, I found that blue after the fact. So let me try and get my brushes stirred up. Hey, Barbara. Hi, everybody. Hi, Miss Shirley. Welcome. My good friend, Miss Shirley. All right, let's get this stirred up, see if I get a decent color blue out of it. Ooh, that's dark. I may have to change colors. I like the blue. My God, I love that color, but that's not what we want. See if I can put some more stuff to lighten it up. That is not the blue. That is not the blue that we want. We want the other blue because it's lighter. And again, I don't think it really has to match because it's the windshield. There we go. Throw that in there. All right, let's do a mix. One thing with this that I like, because it's not real paint, is that when I do throw it into clean the brushes, ooh, that's dark. Holy jeez. See if I can keep trying to lighten it up. Whoa, that's way too dark. Let's do a little bit more on there. If I don't like it, I'm going to grab another thing to make blue on. Because that's way too dark for what we want. We're making a windshield, you know? Don't want it too dark. Happy Saturday, everybody. It's just starting to lighten up now. I don't want to waste this. That's why I'm going to try and lighten it up as much as I can. I really don't want to waste it. So I'm going to keep globbing until I get what I want. And it doesn't have to match the sides. It just has to be a blue, like, to show it's a window, you know? So you guys can see me mixing it with the white frosting to get the color I want. See, it is getting lighter. Little by little, so it's lightening up. Couple of 800 things of frosting, it'll be just perfect. Yeah, clear this a little bit. Hope my friends in Texas are okay. You know, Texas is still having issues right now. Hopefully the servers at TikTok stay safe. So we don't have to go through what we went through last week. Never fun to restart TikTok. And the algorithm has changed. So I'm doing pretty good with this new algorithm, though. The first couple days, I really was unhappy with the algorithm. But the last couple days, it's been, for 3 days in a row, it's been really good. So I'm hoping it stays that way. All right. I might use this for the windshield. Let me do one more spot of this. I think we might have a nice windshield color with this. So let me add just a little bit more in here, and I think we're ready to go with the windshield. Because we can put this on the back window too. It's going to get a big old glob. See the glob? I think it'll work. We don't want it the same color blue as the other one anyway. So I think it'll work. I think we got the color we want. I made a ton of it, so it's kind of like a waste in a way, but yeah. Yeah, I got a nice light blue here, a nice semi-light blue. I think we got ourselves a windshield. And I'm going to quit while I'm ahead right now. If I went one more, all right, you know what? Let's just go one more for the hell of it. Because it is lightning. It is lighting up nicely. The train wreck that is me working with frosting. Trying to do things I do with acrylic paints with the frosting. Okay, come on, go in there. Let's mix. Let's dance. Do. Put on your red shoes and down. Oh, that's cool. Dance the blues. Let's dance. Do. Put on your red shoes. Sorry. I don't know why that song comes to mind when I'm mixing. Okay, let's make a windshield, shall we? So we're going to be around this color. It won't be the other blue color, but this color should be nice. And then when I touch up with the other blue color, of course, I'll use the other blue, the classic blue. Okay, so here's the color for the windshield. That got mixed. See that blue right there? There's the windshield color. There I am. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that. It signed me out for some reason. God help me. I'm not going to mention names or anything. You know who I'm dealing with and why, but all I can tell you is it irritates the living bejesus out of me because, now this is going to misbehave. Oh, there we go. Because it shouldn't be doing that stuff. I'm used to working. I don't need invites, you guys, okay? Go away. I don't want to co-host with anybody. How do I get out of this? Go away. I must have hit something over here. When I worked with the other company that I was using before I started going broke, it was so easy. Never had a problem like this. But this one, it's just like every time I turn around, there's something going on that really irritates me. I'm not going to say who it is, but and then when it signs me out like that, usually on a normal day, it would come right back into where it's supposed to be. But today, it decides to sign me out completely. But it'll come back to where we left off. Look how nice and creamy this looks. Why can't the black look like this? Okay. And on the other hand, we don't want to be too clumpy either. All right, let's see if I can get a straight line on this. I'll do my best, kids. Because we're making a windshield. Oh, that's a nice blue. I like it. Gee, I'm tempted to save this and do a coat of it over there. And just paint the rest of it this color. Oh, I blew it. Oh, I already blew it. I already moved my hand. That's okay. I'll add white. That's okay. Add another coat of white on it. That's all. Oh, it's going to have to come down low. What am I thinking? So I'm going to have to bring it down lower anyway because it's a windshield. Duh. But always know, over on the other two networks, you know who you are. Begin with a Y, begin with an F. That's a pretty color, huh? Begin with a Y and an F over there. That it's going to reset. After about an hour, it's going to reset. Like that. And sometimes we're lucky and it resets. It doesn't cause us any problems. And sometimes we're unlucky and it kicks me out completely and I got to do what I just did. Cussing all the way. Okay, so now I'm going to try and square this off. So I'm going to flip this around. Oh, wow, we got some boogers up here. Hang on. Oh, that's not good. Hang on. Why it did that, I'll never know. Let me grab a toothpick. See if I can. I'm going to repaint the spots where there's any mistakes. It didn't do what I wanted to do. So you know what? We're just going to do it by hand. Any place where there's a mistake with the blue, we're just going to go ahead and paint it white. We're going to go back over it with white. So like this up here, don't worry, no stress. All right, like that stuff up there, don't worry, no stress. This did not do what it was supposed to do, so that plans out. Okay, so let me straighten these lines out. That is a pretty color. So I'm just trying to get this across like a windshield. And it could be broken in spots. It's Cousin Eddy, right? Let me straighten this out. We'll have to do the back window too for it today. And like I said, we'll straighten it. If it needs to be straightened out anywhere, we'll use the white frosting to touch it up, and stuff to make sure it's straight and like we want it. Because I don't have the sturdiest hands or the steadiest hands for this kind of project. What time is it right now? Okay. I've been on an hour and 15 minutes. That's huge for me. I know I'm probably going to have to stop at 4 because I got to make my dinner for tonight before I go on do the other show. But I wanted to give you guys some extra time because all week I've been running late with this stuff, So I wanted to give you guys some extra time today to work, for me to work on this stuff. Okay, so that one to me is a windshield. We'll have to add little wipers on here. But that's going to be our windshield. We'll go ahead and add white around it to make sure that and it's crooked. Ah, story of my life. All right, let me fix it. See if I can fix it. And of course it's crooked. Of course it's angled. Why wouldn't it be? You can just see how angled it is. So I'm going to bring it up right over here. Interesting, because it's almost the same color as what I did on the other side. That's what I did on those other sides. So that's interesting to me. Whew, what a mess. I knew that was going to happen. Just try to straighten this thing out. As Scotty in Star Trek would say, you start overthinking the plumbing. It's the bottom, isn't it? It's the bottom. It's not the top. All right, let me see if I can straighten it. I see it. The problem's on the bottom. Okay. Like I said, I warned you guys ahead of time. I don't have steady hands. And some RVs do have big windows in the front because of the view. Because they want to be able to see out and stuff. And like I said, I'll fix it with the white. But we just want to get this on for now. The bottom is horrible. Okay, I can straighten that out with the white when the time comes. Let that dry. That'll be fine. I'm going to let it dry the way it is. I'll show you. And then we'll straighten it out with the white. We'll make it thinner. We'll straighten it out with the white paint, with the white stuff. That's what we're going to do. Okay? Let's do the back wall. That'll get straightened out. I promise we'll get straightened out. Like I said, I don't have the steadiest hands, so let's make sure I got this. We can put the back window on now. Nope. Yes. Okay. So let me put the back window on. Same situation. There's just not enough space up here for anything. See if I can do this more freehand. So I hope you're all having a good weekend. Trust me, it's going to turn out beautiful. Well, not beautiful, but, it's going to turn out proper. Everything will be straight as far as, like, the windows go that I'm putting in. So ignore the fact that the windows look like they look, okay? Everything's going to be straight, okay? When I get done. So, just because it doesn't look like it now, it will be straight. Then I was talking the other night, somebody else went off on Dead Man's Curve on Mulholland. On Thursday morning, I think it was. I don't know if she survived or not. She was stable but serious condition when they helicoptered her out. That's not bad. No, straight, but that's not bad. But they had to life flight her out. Car went down 150 feet down the embankment. I've driven that a couple of times. That is a scary curve. And it's amazing that, there are more accidents out there. But, I mean, that is a really scary curve to even drive on, to even think about driving on. See, again, the more I overthink it, the worse it becomes. Hey, not bad for me. A lot of movie stars live up there. The view's tremendous. The people that drive up there at night and take video and stuff, the view is just absolutely gorgeous. Hey, that's almost straight, you guys. You can see clear across Los Angeles and Hollywood from up there. All right, that was just about straight. We're going to come overhead. See that one? That one's pretty straight. So that's for the rear. So that one turned out pretty good. So that would be for the rear of it. And sometimes, depending on the RV, there was actually a door. You know, there was actually a door that went out to the back, depending on what RV you had. Ours didn't have that, but I mean, you know. I wish this wasn't a different color than what's up there. So I'll have to use the other stuff tomorrow. But, okay, so that's done. So what we could do, and you guys see how well I do straight lines. We could take the white and we could like do the white across the top of these things. You know, where it's supposed to be white up there. So we can do that. So let's go ahead and do that. And then I'll probably call it today. So we'll line that top part with white like it's supposed to be, like up here. And that's probably going to call it today. Tomorrow I'll be in here probably 4 or 5 o'clock. And we'll spend like 2 or 3 hours and get a lot done on this tomorrow. Because we got to finish. I'm waiting on the, thank you. I am waiting on the little Christmas light candies because really, you guys don't realize how cute the house itself turned out. It turned out really cute. And then we got to finish off this, and we got to finish off that other gingerbread house from Christmas that collapsed in. So we got to do that. And then we can do our Valentine's house. So we're going right into a Valentine's house, and I just might do a St. Patrick's Day house. I haven't decided yet. So, do you guys want to go with a deeper blue on here, or just leave the blue like it is? I mean, we could go with that deeper blue. I got a ton of it. You know that blue I use on the windshield? So the blue would be like that. So you want to go with a deeper blue, or you want to stay with the blue? What do you think? Yeah, we did St. Patty last year. It turned out really cute. Stay like that? Okay. I think it makes it look more beat up. I agree. All right, so let's do this. I gotta get a bag for that. No, I don't. Let's do this. Let me put this away before I lose it. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to try and run a straight white line on that top that tapers down. Okay, that top part. We'll try and run that line today. And then I got to call it. I got to go make my dinner. Get ready for the nice show. And this is what we do. We put these things in baggies. Just like Legos. Just like having Legos, you guys. All right, let me get the brush, and we're going to try it. I'm going to attempt to do this. Again, whoa, don't do that. This is so bright, this light. So I'll definitely be back at 6:45 p.m. Pacific. To do some tarot card readings tonight. All right, let's see if we can run that line. That way, by the time I get back at 6, it'll all be done. It'll all be dry. So, Pamela, how are you feeling today? The only reason why I know it's white up there is because I was looking at pictures of the RV, reproductions of Cousin Eddy's RV. Let's see if I can do that without messing it up. Right. Mona, how are you feeling? I know some of you guys haven't been feeling all that great. Just has to be a strip of white up here, like where the roof sits. Just like that. Probably take a couple coats of white, but We'll get that white up there. And when I do eat off the brush at the end to show you guys, don't think it's gross because these brushes, it's not cold out. Oh, good. No, it's cold out. These brushes were brand new brushes. Okay, so I mean, it's not like they were used, pre-used for oils or anything. These are brand new paintbrushes. And all I've done is use the frosting with them. So there's no ick factor. God, one of my neighbors was barbecuing the other day. It was nice. We hit 65 here the other day. Then it turned cold again. And one of my neighbors was actually barbecuing. You guys are feeling better? Good. I'm glad. I've been worried about you. That's one thing, TikTok, and you guys, if you come over to TikTok and follow, that's one thing we do. We really care about our followers. You know, if we don't talk to you for a couple of days, we're going to try and email you and see what's going on with you. You know, because we worry about you guys. There might be 10,400 of you, but it's a family. It's a big family. I have Tom Jones going in my head right now. I don't know why. That song Delilah that he did, I don't know why that song's in my head. I'm sorry, Delilah, I just couldn't take anymore, you know. And now I'll get copyrighted on Book of Face now over that. Well, that's not too bad. So the actual RV has a white strip at the top like that. So there's just a white strip across the top, which I'm sure will take extra coats, you know, to make it over. So once that dries, add the second coat to it. But that RV actually has white. Let me get the other one. Yeah, and then we're going to start adding rust to this. I got to go get some black, maybe food coloring or black or brown, mostly brown. And we're gonna put the rust spots because Eddie's RV has rust on it. So we're gonna put the rust spots on as well. Hey, I'm not, you know, let's remember this fact. I am not a cake boss. So, I mean, this is all new to me. I'm used to slapping candy on stuff, you know, working on Christmas roofs and stuff like that. Makes you want to make one too. Well, my sister and I were talking about this. What this reminds me of, because my dad was a mail carrier for years, you know, what this reminds me of is a mail truck. It's shaped just like a mail truck. So I was kind of talking online to my sister about next year buying another set like this and making it into a mail truck. You know, kind of like to honor my dad. And then that vacation house, we're definitely going to do it again next year because I learned so much doing that one that now I know what not to do, you know, to mess it up. And so I won't make those same mistakes twice. Oh, you had Bobby Sherman in your head? I don't know why I got that. I love that song, Delilah. I don't know why it's in my head today. And, you know, I was having weird dreams that like a couple weeks ago about something bad coming. And it was like I was at Universal Studios. It was weird. And I was wandering around the back lot at Universal Studios. And I just got the impression that something wasn't right. And I couldn't put my finger on it. You know, we had that shooting that weekend. That might have been it. The following weekend, we had that shooting. And then TikTok went down. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do with this. And then I'm going to buy another vacation house for us next year. And because I know what I did wrong with it, we're going to do it like the right way, and really make it look nice. But when you guys see it when it's done, when I pull it over here to put the rest of the candy bulbs on there, you guys are going to be in love with that house. That thing turned out beautiful. I think that's one of the prettiest ones I've done. The other one I liked a lot was last year's Valentine's house. That one turned out really good. See, this is going to be a little wider than the one on the other side. But, close enough for government work. But we will have those candy Christmas lights. Should be here next week sometime. Hey, Michelle. Michelle Colley, what's happening? Hey, Scorpio. So again, I'll be back at 6:45 or thereabouts tonight to do this. I'm going to go make my veggie burger and have my dinner. I was going to have pizza tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday pizza day. But if my friend takes me out, there we go. That one turned out really good. If my friend takes me out for Chinese tomorrow, obviously I'm not going to have that. However, I did buy those Chinese training sticks because I never could. My brother, who loves Asian culture, and me being an idiot, I could never get the knack of chopsticks. So I went ahead and got some training chopsticks. I don't make it, I buy it. But I buy, in fact, right now I'm happy. I've been buying like Morningstar black bean, which are okay. Because Safeway was out of the veggie burgers. Oh yeah, Mona's a moderator too, I forgot. Safeway was out of Boca burgers. But they finally got Boca burgers in, and I'm real happy. So you take it, you fry it up in a little oil, which I'm going to go to start using my air fryer, and I really shouldn't have that much oil. But you fry them for about 5 minutes on each side in oil, and then you make it into a burger. You just put veggies on there. I also use low sodium Swiss cheese. My Swiss cheese is only 40 milligrams of salt. I'm going to show you guys, and I've been wanting you to do this. They taste really good. The Boca burgers taste excellent. I did like the black bean burger, but I ate the Boca burgers the last 2 days, and they just taste so much better because they're the original veggie burger. I used to get them at Costco, and they were like these are small, but they were like this, like really big at Costco when I used to get them. Get my Costco card back, I'll start eating more veggie burgers. Let's see if we can get that to dry in a second here, but I'm going to have to break off so I can cook and then have a little time off to meditate before I do readings tonight. But I'll be back at 6:45. Let's have a good time. Those hats and mustaches are calling. My moderators are funny because the minute I start the hats and mustaches, these messages come up that says, here we go. But I'm also going to get some cooking going for you guys. I finally got it rigged in my kitchen where I can put the phone up, have the phone up high over the stove. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to make low sodium dishes. There's a sandwich that I make that's really easy to make. And there's two options with it. You can either use no sodium bread, which is horrible. I'm using regular bread. And then that's the option. You go buy no sodium bread, and you might as well eat cardboard. But I'm just saying. But there's options like that to use with it. And then you can put, if you want, you can put a tomato in if you want it, But it's more of a vegan sandwich, but it's really good. I use flavoring with it. I'll put, in fact, even with the veggie burger, on top of the cheese in the middle of the veggie burger, I will use Mrs. Dash, like garlic and herb, for seasoning. So I'm going to teach you guys how to make some low sodium dishes, like marinated chicken, real good marinated chicken, and things like that. Honey vinegar chicken. Honey and balsamic vinegar. And it's all low sodium. So I'll share the recipes with you guys. But as far as the veggie burger goes, I just buy them. I use Boca. But what's interesting with that too is when you think about that, and if you look at Bubba Burgers have less salt than veggie burgers do. And they're all beef. And they're big. So if you're more of a hearty eater and you're trying to cut back on your salt, a Bubba Burger works great. Yeah, I have a whole book, a 515-minute low sodium recipes, and it shows you how to make your own ketchup and your own barbecue sauce and all that stuff. You know, to keep it low sodium. I've had the book for years. When I originally got diagnosed, I went out and I bought Native American. My doctor laughed. I said, "Okay, I'm going on diet." And she went, "Yeah, right, I believe it." You know, the next day after. So I bought Native American cookbook, and I was cooking Native American when I first went. You know, when I was first diagnosed. And then I found this other cookbook, and then I used that one. All low sodium. That's why with these veggie burgers, you'll probably get like, I haven't looked at this. I was averaging like 400 milligrams of salt a burger as far as the veggie meat went, because we're putting flavoring and stuff in there, and which isn't great. But I mean that. But once you got everything else on, you know, you were probably at 600 milligrams of sodium, which like you go to McDonald's for a burger, or Burger King, or wherever you go, and it's going to run you like 3,000, milligrams of sodium in those burgers. So you're still getting a low sodium thing. So it kind of works out. But where it comes in to where there's more, you got to figure it's bread that you're eating. Some of that bread, it'll start at like 110 milligrams of salt, and some of that bread per piece jumps up to like 200, 300 milligrams of salt. And that's what you got to watch. But like I said, you can find no sodium bread, but I'll tell you, I ate it for a couple of years. I would rather just have one meal a day, you know what I mean, for my salt intake, like I'm doing, because it's just nasty. It's nasty. And then I also use no sodium butter. Like for the sandwich, I'm going to show you guys, the first one I'm going to make for you guys is no sodium butter. And the funny thing about that is you know how like butter has, how butter has salt in it, right? Well, there's no salt in this, so it doesn't melt. It's hard. It's really hard to melt. Really difficult to melt because there is no salt at all in it. So it's an adventure. It's an adventure figuring all that out. There we go. There's that one. So I swear by Mrs. Dash, you know. I've been doing Mrs. Dash for years. So I think that's about going to do it, you guys. I think we're done for the day. I'm going to go make my dinner and then get everything set up to come back in here to work. I got to reset the whole room. Once I get back in here, this whole table has to be reset. So this will all be reset here to do readings. Hi, Julia. How you doing? Delphi's Tarot. I got 4 of you watching. We're good. So we've been on. How long have we been on? Oh, over an hour and a half. And with my stomach issues that I have, I don't like to generally eat really close to when I'm going to go on the air because I might get sick. So I don't, I have to be really careful about, when I eat. I usually like to eat 2 hours before a show because if anything's going to hit, it's going to hit like an hour after I eat. Now let's see if I can take this edge off. Now I'm like addicted now. But these will clean up nice. I think that's the one I was using. See if I can take the edge off on this. We need to do some patchwork here over this blue. It'll patch. Might take a couple extra coats, but it'll patch. Well, yesterday I didn't eat until 11 when I got off work. I was sucking on red vines all night, which I don't like to do. But I was doing it. Because I opted to take care of, I was tired yesterday, so I opted to sleep for a while, having a little nap yesterday, and forsake dinner. But tonight I don't want to do that. So I'm going to show you guys some different dishes. It's a great cookbook. Love the cookbook. I've had it for years. And but my original diet when I lost all my weight, when I was on Weight Watchers, it was veggie burgers. And I carried that over to my low sodium diet, so I had to lose a bunch of weight. And now I have to lose a bunch of weight. So the only thing I know to do is to go to the only diet that I really know that has worked for me is veggie burgers. So that's why I'm falling back on the veggie burgers. It's the only diet I've done well on. That, the low sodium diet. Like between rotating the veggie burger and those other sandwiches like I'm talking about, like I told you guys about, that's how I lost like 40, 50 pounds. Not to mention the water pill, because I was carrying like 50 pounds of water at one point, and that came off. But then after that, what brought me down was rotating the veggie burgers and that other stuff. Yeah, I had gained like 40, 50 pounds of water. In fact, I'm way over my water weight right now, but I know it's not water. It's just me, not being as active as I could have been. Because I know what my dry weight is. All right, well, if I don't stop this, I won't stop. So I got to pull the plug at some point. So I want to thank you all for coming today. I will be here tomorrow, probably around 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Pacific doing this. I don't know if I'm going to read from the book yet, because my friend had mentioned going out to lunch tomorrow, so maybe it's for my birthday, I don't know. But either way, I will be here for the evening, 2-3 hours in the evening to do this. And then we'll get back to reading the book, the next Sunday. We'll get back to reading the book, to finish off that dark Christmas book, the dark holiday book. And then we'll be moving on. Marion Muter my friend Marion Muter has just written a new book, and it's coming out. And so the timing of everything, for her book to come out and for us to do the read on it is coming up here. So by the time we get done doing what we have here and you'll read our other book, her book should be ready to go. So we'll be reading out of her book. And it's called The Chocolate Syndicate, so I'm thinking it has a lot to do with chocolate. All right. Do you guys want me to take a mouthful of frosting? Would you guys like me to eat some frosting before I sign off? Up to you. If you want me to eat frosting, let me know. I have no problem with it. And I'll try and make sure to get out around 6:45. I know I've been running late every night, but I'll try to get out around 6:45. So should I eat some frosting? You want me to eat some frosting? Okay. Let me go get a spoon, okay? Let me do this properly. Let me go get a spoon, and I'll eat a big glob of frosting for you, okay? Be right back. Take the reading glasses off so I don't fall. Be right back, and I'm going to eat a big glob of frosting for you guys. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're back. All right, so here it is, the ceremonial glob of frosting after I do my work. Oh, the eye doesn't look too bad. What do you think? That eye doesn't look too bad, huh? You guys think it's allergy? I think it's allergy. All right, so here we go. There is the frosting. Here we go. There's my glob, okay? Where am I? I had to make a run over here. Here we go. Here's the glob of frosting. I do it every day of every show for this. You guys ready? Oh my God. I almost bought chocolate frosting the other day because I thought, you know what? There it is, you guys. I know some of you can't eat this stuff. My mother couldn't, but she did anyway. But all I have to say is, eat your heart out. Timothy. Well, hell, I can go clean my house twice now. I'll just clean this mess up and run into my house and just clean the whole damn thing. We were ready to go to clean the whole house. And hopefully next week I'll get the gray out of here. I'll go get my hair cut and stuff. When I was a kid, my mother would make chocolate frosting sandwiches. My mother, what's that stuff they sell now? That's like a frosting that you can eat. What's that stuff called? Which I bought, you know. I forget what it's called. My mother was doing that before that stuff came out. Is it Nutgo or what's that called? Does it begin with an N, that stuff? Well, I got news for you. My mother. Oh, tortilla? Okay. Your mom was like my mom. My mother would take Nutella. That's what I'm talking about. My mother would take chocolate frosting and put it in between two pieces of bread. That was a sandwich. Here, have a snack. It was crazy. It's Nutella. So my mother was making Nutella before it was a thing. Tortillas, I never saw my mom do that, but I'm sure she probably did at some point in her life. Well, I feel good now. I could do 5 shows and Okay, anyway, this is that time and I have to go make my dinner, let my dog run around, and feed my cats. My cats are yelling at me. So I gotta make my dinner tonight and have my little veggie burger. And I don't eat chips either anymore. I eat carrots. So my veggie burger and carrots, and then my 2 tablespoons of salad dressing to go with my carrots. So thank you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate it, and I will see you around 6:45 p.m. Pacific tonight for some tarot card readings and some fun. I'm a totally different person reading tarot cards, so expect to blow the roof off TikTok, right? We like to blow the roof off TikTok. It's a thing we do. So join me, and don't forget, come on over to join me on TikTok so I can blow the roof off. You guys over here too. If there's any of you that have a TikTok, frosting between graham crackers. Yeah, see, that could work too. Absolutely. That's probably where they figured out how to build graham cracker houses. Think about that. So tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific, come on, join me, and we are going to blow the roof off TikTok. All right, so let me shut down over here. I'm going to reach across to my fat arm. Hang on. Goodbye, everybody over on the other 2 networks. Thank you so much.